Hey y'all, how you doing? I'm hanging in there, getting ready to do my skincare routine for the night and go to bed. Already taken my meds for the night, so thought I'd do this and make a video. And basically, I want to talk today about, you know, how much we can learn from our kids. I'm sure I'm not the only one that felt this way, but growing up being a kid, we don't think our parents are human, I guess. we we don't see them as anything but our parents. We don't see them as having ever been young or adventurous or that they enjoyed anything at all, because they do what parents do. They take care of us, they give us direction, and set rules and boundaries. And that's the nature of being a parent. And as children, we don't see that they have their own likes and dislikes, and that they can also, be cool people, not just parents. I know when I grew up, my parents absolutely would never, never listen to the music I was listening to. Mom and dad were both born in the early 40s, so their favorite music was the 50s and 60s, and some into the 70s. But they were all about what we call the oldies, which is great. I grew up listening to the oldies, and I absolutely loved them. I to this day still listen to a lot of it, but I didn't stop experimenting, I guess, with music when I had kids. I'm a kid of the 80s. I was a teenager and got married in the 80s, became a mother in 89. So the 80s really are my wheelhouse. They are. We had some killer fucking music. But I also listened to the radio a lot, and I would listen to current music. So I heard a lot of the 90s hip hop, and once both the boys became older and started choosing what they wanted to listen to, I started hearing the music for the 2000s. And up to this day, I'm not as current on things as I could be, but that's mainly because I think the music these days is fucking stupid and sucks donkey balls. But that's just my opinion. But I remember, as my kids got older, I remembered how I felt at having my parents always dissing my music and telling me to turn it down. They didn't want to hear it, and never giving it a try at all. And when I say my parents, I mainly mean my mom. My dad, he likes music, but he was always working, so it was more my mom than anything. And I grew up hating the fact that she wouldn't even try to listen to the music I was listening to. If it wasn't in her wheelhouse, she just, you know, turn it down, don't let me hear it, and that was that. So, like I said, when my boys got older and started listening to their own music, I made sure that I would listen with them. I would, you know, when I'd be driving, I would put on usually current music station that, you know, would play the music that is new and upcoming. That way they could enjoy being in the vehicle with me. And it gave me an opportunity to really hear and understand what they were listening to, because I think that's important. You know, had my kids been listening to death metal, then, you know, I probably would have been concerned. But they helped expand my musical interest. I love my 80s music, but I like the 50s, I like the 60s and 70s. I like the hip hop from 2000 from 90s. You know, the music in 2000s were good. And 2010s were there were a few good artists, but had it been left up to me, and if I had never been open-minded with my boys and their music, I would have never been able to enjoy Kid Rock, 6 a.m., Theory of a Dead Man. I don't know what that one is, but My Chemical Romance. You know, just pretty much anything after the 90s I probably wouldn't have voluntarily listened to. And having them listen to it and me giving the chance and listening to it with them was, I know they appreciated it, but it also made me appreciate them sharing their music with me at that point. Because if you stay stagnant in one decade or era, you know, you miss out on a lot. And my Amazon Music list, I've pretty much got from classical to rap. I don't do death metal. Everything else I pretty much give a try. I absolutely love The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. And I absolutely love The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. They did a fucking amazing job. I love to listen to my 80s. That's my wheelhouse. And Tainted Love by Soft Cell is one of them I really enjoy. But I also love Marilyn Manson's version of it. Same with his version of Sweet Dreams Are Made of These by the Eurythmics. So I'm not the closed-minded parent that I had. And that was important to me. I've said it before, and I'll say it till the day I die. I loved my mother, but she taught me about the type of mother I did not want to ever be. And I did the best I could to not be similar to her, because I wanted my kids to feel comfortable, to feel that they could come with me and share their lives with me. And I pretty well succeeded, thankfully. I have such a great relationship with both my boys. I am thankful every day for both of them. They have given my life meaning and purpose over the years, and that'll never change. They are my heroes. Them and their wives are my heroes. And what we did with music also happened with books. I had, the books I always read, that I like to read, which are, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, John Saul. But I also like Marion Zimmer Bradley, V.C. Andrews, and my last husband, he got me into reading David Eddings books, and fuck do I love them. They are awesome. But my sons turned me on to reading R.A. Salvatore, and his writings in the Forgotten Realms universe. They got the books. I think I bought them for them, but they started reading this book, the first one, the Icewind Dale trilogy. And as soon as my son Christopher finished it, he's like, "Mom, you gotta read this." And I did, and fuck, I was hooked. Absolutely 1,000% hooked. It was awesome. And after that, I would get every R.A. Salvatore book there was. But he's not the only writer in the Forgotten Realms universe. There are hundreds of books in this verse. And I went and I researched and I made lists, and I got on Amazon and I found book after book after book, usually paperback, for a penny, $3.99 shipping. Come right to my door, perfect. I fucking love it. Amazon used books, I'd say at least 75% of my collection has come from that. But I started reading The Forgotten Realms through, first by Salvatore, and then I went to the rest of the universe of it, and by different authors, and man, it is such a complex universe that it just blows my mind. I absolutely love it. Uh, and you know, they give the books that I read a try, but my boys are more into the fantasy and manga, you know, that kind of stuff. They're really not into reading horror books, and certainly not B.C. Andrews. But you know, they have read some of them, especially Stephen King. But I have learned a better appreciation with books when I've been able to literally sit down and discuss a book with them, because we've all read it, and we can sit and have a, you know, hour long in-depth discussion about the books. It it is so enriching to be able to do that. Um, you know, I'd have to say, you know, between 10, 12 years ago, Christopher found an author, and Chris found his very first book, which turned out to be one in a set of three. It was ended up being a trilogy. I believe it's the Night Angel trilogy, but it was by Brent Weeks. And Christopher, you know, Christopher got the first book and read it, and then he got the others, and then he said, "Here, Mom, you got to read this." And I'll tell you, for that trilogy being Brent Weeks's first foray into writing, it was excellent. I mean, top notch. And then after that, he started another set that, oh no, there's 5, 6 books, I think, called the Lightbringer saga. And, you know, it was the same thing. Christopher read them. He's like, yeah, you really need to check this out. And therefore I did. When I lived at the beach with the boys and my husband, we would, I don't know, at least once a month, sometimes even more, make a trip to Barnes and Noble and spend, you know, sometimes hours just browsing and looking and just making wish lists. And if we had the money, then you know, hell yeah, we snatched them up. Because you know, reading is vital to critical thinking. And my parents taught me to really think about things, and I taught my boys. And it also helps with imagination and vocabulary. Reading is just absolutely the escape from reality. And being able to share with my boys has always been the highlight of my life. I've been the best parent I knew how to be with them, and I think I did a pretty good job. and I learned as much from them as they learned from me. I can guarantee that. When I was going through my divorce from my husband this last time, he and I had been having a lot of problems, and I had been telling him for years that I was unhappy, and that I was thinking of divorce, and trying to work on things, but nothing ever changed. So in 2018, my kids came out, and while they were out, I talked to them about me wanting to get a divorce, and I asked them what they thought and how they would feel if I did. And they absolutely supported me, whatever my decision was, which inevitably I did file for divorce. When I did, I had the option of getting spousal support, which he and I had been together almost 20 years, and with me being disabled, it was definitely kind of on my mind that I almost felt entitled to spousal support. And then I was informed by my husband that if I pursued trying to get spousal support from him, then he was going to try and sue me to get half of my inheritance from my dad, which there's no way he could have. The house was put in my name long before my dad died. It was all bluster, guaranteed. But that if I did pursue spousal support, then that would have meant, instead of an uncontested divorce, it would have been contested, and we would have had court hearings and lawyer battles and all of this other crap. A regular uncontested divorce was almost $1,000 out of my pocket as it was. And when my ex told me all this, I talked to my boys. I'm like, I want this all to be done and over with, and I want to be happy again. I said, but things are tough living on my income, and spousal support would help me be able to pay the bills. I said, but I don't want to fight either. And my oldest was like, you can get spousal support, but that's just going to keep him in your life on a monthly basis, because more than likely he would not be paying on time. He would not, be cooperative, and it would just keep being a struggle. So talking to my boys about things like that helps me see different perspectives, because they think of things that maybe I didn't consider. And even though I was more than within my rights to have him pay me spousal support. In the end, I decided not to. I wanted out. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be happy. And I wouldn't be able to do that keeping him that involved in my life. So I took the high road and let it go. It wasn't worth fighting over. It's just money. I just wanted to be at peace again. And, yes, it would have been easier had I been getting spousal support each month, but, it is what it is. And I can honestly say I am 1,000% happier since I got divorced, because I was living half a life when I was with him, and I deserve to live a full life, and that's what I'm doing. But being able to talk to my boys about things like that is absolutely a blessing. We share everything, and the fact that I've been able to learn so much from them is just absolutely amazing. Because I love finding new books. Same thing with games on the Xbox or PlayStation. A lot of the games that I've found that I like are because of my boys. I absolutely have a blast doing my housework, listening to some Kid Rock or, Halsey, all of that. I mean, I love rocking out while I'm doing my housework. It makes it more fun. So I have my boys to thank for that, because you can only listen to the 80s songs so many times before you kind of get tired of the repetition. And as much as I love my 80s music, the fact that I can listen to music all the way up to now that has been put out, that's because of my kids. So it is absolutely great to share that with them. And being able to be open-minded with your children and share those aspects of their life is absolutely beneficial, not only to the parent but to the kids as well, because it gives them more of a feeling of acceptance. I certainly didn't feel that way with my parents. They cut me off on certain things that they were not willing to even try, and I absolutely hated that. It was very frustrating knowing that my parents, well, my mom, didn't have an open mind about most things. So being the exact opposite of that really helped keep things really nice between me and my kids. Yes, Lovey, I love you. Kids are not stupid. They are intelligent. They have such different perspectives than parents do. And it's really a good thing to listen to them with an open mind and to be able to share in their interests, books, music, games, whatever, to be able to share in that is a very great bonding experience. And I would not have traded it for the world. So, you know, if you're a parent and you've got young kids and you find yourself being a little closed-minded, just remember that the more you share with your kids and the more interest you take in what they enjoy listening to and doing, all it's going to do is make everything better between you and bring you all closer. Your kids really need to know they're accepted and that they can include you and come to you no matter what and not be made to feel excluded. So, all right, my skincare's done. My lovey is wanting my attention. So, time for me to put away all my serums and everything and get ready to go to bed. So, if you've watched this, I thank you. I hope I've maybe imparted a little bit of wisdom. I appreciate it. And I love y'all very much. Have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.